My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Enslaved Odyssey to the West. Now, if I'm being honest, I don't know all too much about this game. I heard some good things, I saw some gameplay clips, and it looked like similar gameplay to Uncharted, so that got my interest. And then I saw Andy Serkis' voices in it, and Alex Garland wrote it, so I'm like, you know what, I'll go out and look for it. So because this game is only on PlayStation 3, it took me a while, but I found it at store that sold used video games, bought it, played it, and it's fine if I played it when it came out, but it just hasn't aged the best. The story is it has its ups and downs. I do like the two main characters of Monkey and Trip, and I like the event that sets this entire plot off, how there's this world that's overran by robots and they enslave humans, and how one human needs help getting somewhere, so she enslaves the dude and he has to listen to her, otherwise he dies, and how those two start to form a relationship throughout the game. And I like that in principle, but in the execution, it is so messy. Like, the rules just aren't set up at all. Throughout the game, she is just like, hey, can you do this? And then he just does it. And if he didn't do it, if he didn't hold on when she told him to, would he just die? If she's like, high five, and he doesn't high five, would he just die if he didn't? And then because he likes her, he does everything she wants him to anyways, so they don't really utilize the whole enslaved angle nearly enough because they're too set on trying to make the character of Trip a good person. So it feels like they had this good premise, but then they're like, well, we want to establish a relationship with them, and just the two don't go well together. If these two are on a quest together and they establish a relationship, fine. If she enslaves him and they're enemies and he's forced to do these things, fine. But put the two together and it just doesn't quite work. And the fact that this relationship forms, I hate to use this word, I hate it when people say this, but it's very problematic. If there's two characters and one person has to do everything the other person says, otherwise they die, it's just, it's very questionable. And obviously, there's a whole kink element to it, because there's a point where he's just like, well, she frees him, he's allowed to take the enslaved headband off, but he's just like, what are you doing? Keep it on. And it's supposed to be this sweet, pure moment, but no, take it off. Get rid of it. What are you doing? Like, are you kidding me right now? If you keep it on and she has a change of heart and she loses her mind, or she dies, you still die too. So it's just filled with issues. And like I said, they just don't utilize it enough. There's one point where they're trying to find her dad, and she says, if we find my dad, I'll let you be free. And then they find her dad and she doesn't let him be free. And that should be a dark, tragic moment. I did everything you wanted me to and you're still not letting me be free? But they play it off like, he cares for her. No, it just doesn't work. And I really hated it. And then the ending of this game introduces this whole element of people wear these masks and are part of the old world again, but not really. And this just came out of left field for me. I know there's moments where you see glimpses of the past, but it's just not really a part of the main story. So yeah, like, I like the characters of Trip and Monkey, but the whole relationship is severely problematic, and the fact that he wants to be enslaved to her is just it's messed up. The gameplay I should love. You've got good combat, you've got plenty of exploring, but the problem is that it's just dated. It feels like a game that came out when it did. It's playable, but it's very jumpy in moments. And it's just really frustrating in certain moments. Like, there's this one scene where you have to hide from the enemy behind this moving vehicle, and the vehicle just goes, stops, and it drove me nuts. The puzzles are fine enough, they're not too challenging. they're there, so I like that. And I do like how there's some big action set pieces when you're on the outside of this plane and you have to jump from one wing to the next. Makes it feel like this grand epic opening. I like using the cloud to get around places much faster. You don't really use it all too often though. I like the staff as a weapon. I like taking down enemies, even though it can be very difficult. I like the climbing aspects. And the stun gun is your best friend, but it also makes bosses incredibly easy. And yeah, there was a few funny jokes in this game that I liked. There's one character actually. Back to the story. Like he's this bigger dude who comes in the last act of this game. I thought he was going to be like this surprise villain, but he really isn't. And I don't know. I just thought the character was very despicable, and I didn't like the fact they try to make him out to be a good guy. I do have more complaints. I'm not done yet. I hate how whenever you die, you have to watch the entire previous cutscene again. I know autosave wasn't as big then as it is now, thankfully, but that still drove me nuts. I wish we were given more ammo in certain moments. I hate how if you get hit by an enemy once, the entire screen turns red, so it feels like you're going to die any second, but then you look at your health and you're just like, oh, no, I'm fine. There's this one boss fight of a rhino, which I really hated. The last 2 hours of this game were glitch overload. One game I used to love on PlayStation 2 was Sonic Heroes, but there were two big issues with that game. Number one, the Chaos Emeralds in trying to get them, and two was the insufferable close-up messy camera, and I got that when I was finishing up this game. So, look, this game is a mixed bag for me. Like, if I played it when it came out, I probably would have been a lot bigger on it, but just playing it now, it's definitely dated. There's good elements to it, there's some cool gameplay mechanics, but it all still feels dated. I like the characters of Trip and Monkey, but the whole relationship is just one giant issue, and they don't actually utilize the enslaved element at all. This game is called Enslaved Odyssey to the West. We get Odyssey to the West, and we get enslaved, which should be a negative, but if you've got a kink for it, then I guess it's not. And I do like the world building enough. It feels like a more form, better version of Horizon Zero Dawn. So, yeah, I didn't hate the game. I'll never touch it again, that's for certain. But if I heard they were remaking it and going to make it a new franchise, and the relationship would actually be decent, then maybe I'll give it a try, but for now, I'll give it a 4.5 out of 10. Okay, have you played Enslaved Odyssey to the West? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon, and Gavin